Ben, good to see you again. What is that mysterious fourth factor you speak of?
Indeed, Brian, good morning. It's the vaccine. There's a lot of expectations that this vaccine will happen before year end. There's a big political message behind it too. Just a recent headline by Trump thinking that it could come as early as October. China is really in the race to deliver something perhaps by November too. So that all sets up for this expectation that the solution is near, and it's important for these other three expectations you outlined because, you know, the vaccine would have a big impact on confidence and thereby on spending in the economy. So it has become, you know, what I call a quad factor. It's an actual word, actually. So you have to take that into account. I think this will be a focus for the Fed today.
You know, Ben, in trying to understand history, been reading a lot about past pandemics, and we've had, 57 and 68, they were smaller. Everybody points to 1918. That was obviously far more severe. But you look at the Roaring 20s and you look at sort of, history, and we're taught that that was because of the end of the war. And now if you look at it, you think, wow, maybe that was more because of the end of the pandemic than the war. Is there an opportunity for a new Roaring 20s? Something we've talked about before, the idea that not only is a recovery perhaps priced in, but maybe more than a recovery, maybe a few years of sort of wild spending, for lack of a better term, as everybody goes bonkers because, by that time, a year or 2 years of semi or all lockdown will be over.
I think that's a great point, Brian, because, if you think about it, like, yes, we went through a lockdown that none of us really have experienced. So it's something that we don't want to experience again. And that's why there's this huge political pressure to get the solution together, and it will happen. And if that does, with this already major stimulus is put into the system by central banks and by governments, and more coming, we'll see discussion today again about it at the Fed meeting, as well as what's happening in DC, then yes, you could have a major spending boom coming ahead of us. And, if you look at the markets today, there's a fair bit of normalization has happened in the stock market, not so much in the bond market yet. Inflation expectations are moving. We could well get to what we call a pre-COVID environment for the market, which means it just looks just like previously, but it's essentially a new environment like the post-COVID. That will boost, I think, a lot of the spending. So I think you're making a great point. We could have a roaring 20s idea by next year.